My name is Bree Newsome, and this is Artfool.
Yo, cutie pie, I'm a sexual seductress. Hips, thighs, lips so voluptuous. So fine, it hurts to discuss this. I gotta see ya, I gotta meet her, no lie. I must approach her, spit a line, and get to know her. So shy, I'm such a loner. I can't know her, yeah, I gotta own her. Yo, shorty bad, straight up out of a Maxim. Any man that take it.
I just loved watching movies when I was younger, and I knew that I loved storytelling. I did some theater, actually here in Charlotte at Afro-American Children's Theater. I did some of that, did some acting, but I realized that I really liked making the stories. And I was actually like a little kid when I saw The Lion King. And that was honestly like when I was like, I really love making films, like this is what I'm interested in. So I just started kind of like doing it on my own, like just kind of playing around with it a little bit. And you know, the love for it never went away. So the passion never went away, so I realized that's what I want to do. I mean, my parents are probably like my biggest, most direct influences, and they just always, I always appreciated how they didn't really put demands on me as to what I would do. They just told me whatever it is that you're passionate about, you learn how to do it well, and you figure out how to make a living at it, and so I was just always inspired, by that. I think the hardest thing I've had to fight is the doubt. Because it's like, a lot of times I try to reach back to who I was when I was 7 years old and having that dream. Because at that point, you couldn't have told me anything. I didn't know doubt at that point, you know what I mean? And that's what I admire about kids in general. I think that's a thing that, the quality that children have that a lot of times we lose as adults is just that they don't have fear. Like they say, I'm gonna be this, and that's what they're going for because nobody has yet told them that they can't do something. So I've always had the same desire and the same goal. The main issue for me was just battling my own self-doubt and kind of overcoming that, I would say, And then the discipline is another thing, that I had to learn. The creativity is one part, but it's a big debate. Should you go to film school? Should you not go to film school? Is it necessary? Is it not necessary? For me, it was necessary because I don't know where else I would have gotten that kind of exposure. It's not like I come from a family where people are filmmakers. I was never around people, who were doing film or anything. So for me, what was most awesome about that was the first time I was surrounded by a whole bunch of other people my age who were just like me. Because, in school, I was weird for, being this kid running around trying to make movies. But then I'm in this environment suddenly where there's a whole bunch of people who are just like me. And being able to, collaborate and just be around that was probably the most rewarding aspect of it for me, the first festival that I was, most preoccupied with was the NYU Film Festival. And that's the student film festival. It's called First Run. And that was always the goal was to, from the time I was a freshman, was to be one of those finalists for Wasserman, which I ended up being. But as far as the other festivals, that was my first time with a film on the festival circuit. But the way that it happens is once you get attention in one festival, you kind of start getting invitations. So you at first start seeking out the festivals, but once you start kind of winning awards, you start getting invitations to other festivals, and it kind of builds from there. So so it just kept, NYU was the start, and then from there it just kind of kept building and building, and I would win some awards, and it was cool. I didn't know, so at the point that I got interested in stuff, I didn't know what was male-dominated or what was white male-dominated, so I kind of had already made up my mind on what I wanted to do before I was aware of the kind of, social barriers I might have to break through. And by the time I realized there were those social barriers, I didn't care anymore because I was this is what I want to do, so I'm going to do it regardless. But I mean, I've had for the most part really good experiences. I've met a lot of dudes who are they're really cool with it. Nobody's really told me, oh, you can't do something because you're a female, or you can't do something because you're black. And if they did tell me that got dismissed immediately. So I can't tell you the names of those people that did because they don't count.
Exactly.
So I just kept, I just kept them out.
I bring the hook back. She got honey brown eyes, she got me hypnotized. Pretty tats on her thighs, paint the picture of the sky. Honey brown eyes, she got me hypnotized. tats on the thighs, paint the picture of the sky. Honey brown.